So, all right, let's go. So this is JPY basket. So the reason why the JPYs are buying or pushing to the upside is because JPY basket is pushing up. So what we see here is, I'm going to clean up my markup. So I think this blue line here is a weekly level that I marked. So what this means is that price is coming towards this level here, but let me clean my levels here. All right, so this is a very strong sell-off, right? Very strong sell-off. So which means the JPYs are super strong. That's why you see the JPYs pushing to the upside. We are currently running into this 3-day low. So what I think is going to happen is the price is going to continue attacking this low. And this is what I'm looking at. If price breaches that 3-day low, it is coming into this liquidity below here. So in that case, we would be looking at the potential of the market reversing. It doesn't mean the market should reverse, because this is a very big sell-off into this momentum. So at this point here, this is where, if you are looking to sell any of the JPYs long term, this is what you are looking at. So in this case, when price comes back into that level, that is a retest of this level, and we could get a head and shoulders from this zone on upside, right? But another thing to keep an eye here is that if we get a pullback on the JPY, this is what it's going to do. It is coming back into these lows here. But based on how this candle is selling off, it looks like this might just come straight into the low. So if it hits this low and it wants to reverse, it will come back, test this daily, 3 daily highs, and then push down. Let's look at the daily. So today we've had massive sell-off. So not that massive, but we see the price is trailing from that daily retest of that daily resistance here. Right? Price slammed that level, and we're almost hitting this level. So I see the weakness in the JPY is continuing to this level here. And if price breaches that level, we'll drop further. But if price fails, that is when we would now start thinking about a strong JPY. So right now, selling any of the JPYs long term is not a good idea. Right. So but with that being said, on the 4-hour time frame, so long term, we are looking at the JPYs testing here. On the 4-hour time frame, you see there is massive liquidity to the upside, which is showing more pressure, selling pressure. So price is struggling to push it upside. So it pushes up and it fails. It pushes up and it fails, which is showing a lot of massive sell pressure. But we are coming into these levels here. Because we've had massive sell-offs, and tomorrow is Friday. Mostly what the market does on Friday is that you get to have this, fake reversals happening on Friday. So even though we are bearish, this is possible. The market might try a fake out and then continue selling to the downside. So that is something that is potential. But currently, you don't really have to make a trade of that, because at this point, basically, price is in a stalling phase. So ideally, you don't want to do anything here. If you took any trades on any of the JPYs, you are now looking to take profit of them and looking for the next move of the JPY. So this is the current state of the JPY. Massive drops, a lot of selling pressure, but we are slamming the lows where we have more potential downside, or this could be where price starts showing some pullback. But for long-term pushes, at least we need a 4-hour break above this level here. But even that is not going to be long-term, because if you're looking at the structure, let me show you something. If you're looking at the structure, this is the last low. Price breached the last low. So price might come here and do a retest. So if it decides to do a deep retracement, you're looking at the retest of this level and a return to the downside. So currently the JPYs are weak, but this is a potential level for some small reversals here. So if you're in any JPY pair or you're looking to take any JPY pair, I think there should be something to keep in mind. So the next thing is JPYX. So JPYX and the JPY basket are like, they are actually the same thing, but sometimes the price action differ a little bit. So I just look at the two. But here, you don't see any difference. It's showing almost the same thing we had on the JPYX. So they're actually like the same. You don't really have to look at the two like I'm doing it. You just need JPYX or the JPY baskets. And now let's look at the Dixie. So the dollar is very strong. So this is a markup I did last week, and price did a retest and it pushed all the way up to the level I was looking at. But I took a trade against my bias today. So I was buying gold today. I bought gold. Even though like I knew gold was the Dixie was strong, but I was expecting a pullback. Like I was chasing some small pips and the market reversed against me. So if you look at it, so I'm not sure if I did this here. I think this was here. I did this markup here 2 weeks ago when we had a call where we looked at the 3 months and then we had a USD rejecting here. So from what I said, I'm sure you remember what I said. I don't know if all of you were on the call, but the USD is going to continue pushing and it might push for the rest of the year. Because every candle here is 3 months, like I was explaining. So if this candle closes, so this candle has 1 month and 6 days. So we are left with 6 days for May to close. And then the whole of July is also part of this candle. So depending on how we close for June, we would know if this candle needs to continue pushing. But at least, even if it's not going to push long term, it might try to attempt to fill the wick of the last 3 months candle. So this is a very long-term push. And if you look at the monthly, you see that this month has been very bullish. Right from that rejection, price has just started pushing. And this week especially has been very bullish. So last week we closed bullish. What I was looking at from the previous week was a retest of this level, which price did pull back to retest. And we are back here. The only thing here is that we might get some reversal of the USD, some short-term reversal because of the level we are in now. So this is a big, so this becomes tricky because this is a big zone. So this is a whole liquidity zone on the weekly time frame. So price can reverse here, anywhere in this zone. So it makes it very tricky. So you need to break it down. So currently this is a take profit level. If you are in any USD, you're looking to take profit because we could start getting some pullbacks here. So if we get a pullback, where are you looking at? Because the dollar is strong. The dollar is strong. So if you have a swing trade, you can keep your swing trades running. If it pulls back, we are looking at the next resistance here. So on the H4, on the Dixie, you see that the Dixie is now back into these levels here. So this is the level that the Dixie is currently testing. Okay, so if the price respects this H4 resistance and it decides to pull back, this is what we are looking at. So we can see a weakness coming into the dollar, but even when that happens, that's going to be a short-term weakness into this level, and then the strength would continue. So the dollar has a potential to weaken short-term, but long-term we are still bullish. At least we need to complete this range, which is also the wick. You remember that wick I was talking about on the 3 monthly, or the candle for the last quarter of the year. No, I mean the previous quarter. We are in the second quarter now. So the last quarter close is this level here. So that's what we are looking at. We've had very massive pushes here. It's just like I've been day trading for a while, so it's just unfortunate that I don't have any swing trading running off the USD, because this is like a very good potential to like swing trade the USD pairs, but I don't have any swing trades running at the moment. So we are still bullish, but potential for pullbacks, retest here, and the strength of the USD would continue, right? Right. But if we get very strong bullish closes above here, we might not get this pullback here, right? So the Dixie is strong, right? But there's a potential for a reversal here. So you need to see a very strong rejection from here, because before you start looking at counter trading the USDs. And even if you are, you're only looking to this level here, right? I hope that makes sense. Let's look at the US dollar 10-year. Because my battery is always low when I'm on a call. So this is the US dollar 10-year bonds. So I think I explained this the last time, right? Anytime bond prices goes down, the currency becomes strong. So bond prices goes down and the currency becomes strong. So what is bond? Bond is like, in simple terms, that is like let me try and make it simple. So it's more or less like the profits the government pays on certain things that they sell to individuals, right? So for instance, a country can sell its debts in terms of bonds, and then people will buy the debt of the company, the country, and then the country will be like, okay, in 10 years time, this is the returns we will give to you on this bond you are buying. So if the bond prices becomes weak, it is two things. It means that they'll be getting more purchases. They'll be getting more purchases. And in the long term, it means the government is getting more liquidity, and more liquidity means more money, and that goes to strengthen the economy. So but when bond prices are decreasing, the currency becomes strong. So here you see this is a US 10-year government bond, and we've had a massive sell-off here. So this is also the reason why the dollar is becoming very strong, right? But then again, you see we are coming into this structural point here. We're coming into this structural point here. So this, before price pushed here, this was a head and shoulders pattern, right? So this was where this reversal started from on the US government 10-year bond. Price is back into that structural point. So this is where the reversal started, and price is back into that structural point. That is significant because it means the market has the potential to make some pullback from this structural point, because it's a major point. So this is like a swing low. Price is back into that swing low. But then, just like the Dixie, you see this is still bearish. The US 10-year bonds is still bearish. Yeah. So you have a retest here. So there are so many ways to do fundamentals, right? There are people that would go and read the news on how the bond prices are doing. So maybe they will go to some websites that they are telling them, okay, bond prices are this, bond yields are this is the price of this kind of commodities. That is fundamental. This is also fundamental, but you are doing technical fundamentals. I don't know which makes sense. If I'm looking at bond prices to help me predict what is happening on the US dollar, I'm also doing fundamental. So it is you could still do fundamentals on the chart without having to go to like an external website to like read anything. Like you literally have a chart for everything. Most of the things that you're looking for, you have a chart for them. Like if you come here, if you come to trading view, you see this economy here. Economy, you have Fed funds, inflation rates, so many other things, 10-year, so many other currencies. You can find the bond prices, the bond yields. It's more about how you can interpret it. It's the same thing. So if you take the United States inflation rates, this is a chart that is showing you inflation, right? So looking at the fact that inflation is dropping, this is inflation. So inflation start dropping. When inflation becomes weak, what happens? The currency becomes strong. So I can look at this on TradingView without going to look at the chart to tell me if inflation is going down. If inflation is low and bond prices are low, I know that Dixie is going to be strong. I don't need to go look at some news to tell me the dollar is going to be weak. And this thing I'm doing is still fundamental, but I'm still looking at technical. So it is tricky when people say they are not trading fundamentals. It's you need to like literally understand what they mean by that. Like you could be a technical trader but still be able to look at all these things to help you in your analysis. You're not really going to look at the news, but you can also get all this kind of stuff from TradingView. So that's just by the way. So let's go back to the 10-year bond. The 10-year bond. There's also the 10-year bond yield, but let's stick to the 10-year bond. So that was a massive sell-off of the bond, the 10-year bond. So this is the monthly time frame. So you see the whole of this month, we had price. So you have a 3-point reversal on the US 10-year bond, 1, 2, 3, and massive sell-off. So you see, this is telling us that we have a very long way to go. So medium term, bond prices has a high chances of dropping into these lows here. Very, very significant, okay? But what I was saying on the H4 is we are back into structural points. So we had this head and shoulders here in the past and prices back into this head and shoulders. So it makes a lot of sense if price decides to make some pullback before the continuation to the downside. And this correlates with what we saw on the Dixie, where even though the Dixie is bearish, it is running to a level where if it rejects of the H4, we could get some. And this is bond yields. I don't want to talk about bond yields, but we know the Dixie is strong, but the strength, there might be some pullback before the strength continues. This is a JPY basket. This is also another confluence I look at to trade the JPY. So here we see JPY basket is coming into a good liquidity here. So what this means is the JPYs might start reversing soon. So I'll be looking at JPY basket up here and a pullback, maybe long term here. So that means after JPY basket tests that level, you can start planning some short trades on the JPY. You're looking at potential selling trade on USD JPY, GBP JPY. That is long-term trade, but you need to see like this thing start turning around, not like before. As soon as price gets into that level, you start selling. I hope you know what I mean. Right. So this is JP225. This is the Japanese stock index, just like the way you have US 30 and Nasdaq and German 30 for Europe and all that. This is the JP225. So it gives you an idea of what is happening in the Japanese stock market and also helps you understand what the Japanese yen is doing. Okay. So now let's have a look at some actual charts. So this is gold. This is gold. I took a loss on gold today. This was what I was explaining. It was a technical loss. It was a technical loss. So this is what I was looking at here. So you remember this trade? We had some level here. Which one was that? Yeah, this one. This is the buy I took. Is it a buy? I think somewhere around here. The price is not pushed like that. But what happened today was, so this is a very strong level here. This is a good liquidity here. Good liquidity here. And on the, I took this trade from the 30 minutes. We had a break of structure here. You can have a trend line here. Right? And price was also holding off a buy side liquidity from this level. So this trade, the the crazy part about this trade was I knew gold was bearish, right? But I was taking a scalp. Sometimes the small trades is what puts you into trouble, right? So just buying gold from here into this level here and then sell gold from here. But there was a lot of struggle here. And then price flipped around, but I was not paying attention. I was not buying my decks. Flipped around, created a new liquidity, tapped into the liquidity, and then boom. So that was a technical loss. I was very pissed because it was not even a long-term trade. But that's fucked up. But that's just by the way, it's gone. Let's move on. So what are we looking out for gold? Let's look at gold on the H4. We already know that the Dixie is strong. So we are looking at more sell-off, the gold to continue selling off. But what has happened here? On there, let's go to the daily time frame. Let me show you some level on gold. So I've been just calling me. 1 second. I don't know this number. Hello? 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 Oh, you call me and you don't say anything. Okay, just by the way, sorry about that. So gold is supposed to, so if you look at this is a clean reversal of gold. The structure is bearish, like very clean bearish structure. Right. And if you look at the FIPS here, if you go from swing low, to swing high, it looks like price is coming for a deep retracement into the 382, which is also the 61.8%, 61.8% retracement. So this is a very key level here. I've been looking at this level, right? But I wouldn't be taking any trade off, even though like price could continue selling. What you are looking for is the H4 level. So the H4, what you are looking at is, right? So this makes it tricky. So this is what I was looking out for. The reason why I'm saying it's tricky is I was looking out for who just joined. If you just joined, please mute your mic. I was looking at this zone getting tested, right? But it came so close. Sometimes when price comes so close like that, it makes it tricky. Then you are not sure did they really test or they didn't test. So price came so close to the level. So that's what is making me confused. I was looking to take the shot here, right? But we still didn't tap the zone. So I'll still keep an eye on that zone and look at the next structural point that is created. But again, just like we said on the Dixie, even though the Dixie is strong, there could be some pullback because price is hitting into the structural point here on gold. I'm not taking any short on gold, but if gold reverses, pushes back into this zone here, then we have a long-term sell. Not like that long, but all the way down here. So that is what I'm looking out for gold. A pullback when we sell gold up from there down. This is about 600 pips. So if you manage your trade well and you're able to catch something here, that would be very significant. Even if you have 0.05, that's $300 if you're able to hold this. But what I'm not sure of is if price is going to go back into the zone. But so in that case, we need to keep an eye on the Dixie. If we get our pullback on the Dixie, then would expect a pullback here. So if you find something nice here, you could look to take this, buy here, and then sell here. But I'm going to wait to sell here because I've already taken a loss on gold. When I take a loss on a pair, I don't want to get back into, even if I'm getting into a trade, I don't want to get back on that same trade. Because when you take a loss, you need to go back and figure out why you took the loss. And most of the time, when you take a loss and you're not still sure why you took the loss and you're going back to the same setup, there's a high chance you're going to mess up. So this, even though this is a good trade, I'm not going to take it. I'm going to now take a trade in line with the momentum of the market, which is now a break of structure. Before today, this structure, even though the Dixie was strong, this had a higher chances of pushing back to test this upper zone here. That was like the thesis of my trade, to look out for a rate test here and then push down. But now price decided to break there. So this is more like a break and rate test trade, but it's like a break and grab of liquidity and continue selling. So yeah, look out for this pullback here. And then if it happens, you look to sell from here down for 600. Even if it's 0.01, that's $60. Maybe it could run for the whole of next week. It's still a good $60. So that is something to keep an eye on. Right. The next thing we are looking at is GBP USD. So again, same thing. Right. So most of the time, not almost all the time, all the time, the GBP USD and gold is moving in the same direction. That is even one thing that prompted me, because I had a sell setup on GBP USD, but I was still buying gold. So that trade was a good one, but I was more aggressive on gold. So the profit I made here was not enough to cover the losses I took on gold. So that was the tricky part of it. So same thing here, very similar things about what we said about gold. So we already know that what GBP, the USDs are strong. So we want to see more sell-offs of the Dixie, more sell-offs. So I think there is a daily level on GBP USD as well that price needs to test. So the daily level here I'm looking at is the next psychological level, which is 1.22500, which is a quarter point. So this is where I'm looking at. Again, what makes it tricky here is because of the pullback that happened here. So if the dollar becomes weak, then that is when we're expecting the pullback here. But we already had a pullback here, just like we had on gold. So and then it makes it tricky whether price is going to make another pullback all the way here before it pushes down, or it will just continue pushing back down. But even as that's interesting. All right. So this is a very important key level here, because this is the level that facilitated this push to the upside, right? Break rate test and run price to the upside. And price is all the way back into this level here. So if we get a pullback, you see like a lot of things are lining up for a potential USD pullback. So when the pullback happens, if it happens, I'm not. Today was a very good sell, especially on GU, because of this rate test here, rate test of the low. That was a very good sell. You have a bearish momentum, price pushes up, test the low, very good sell. You continue selling. That's why I'm not sure if we are going to get a pullback again to continue selling. But one thing you shouldn't do is to buy against the momentum. You can if it's just a short-term buy, but you should know that until major structural points are broken, this thing is still bearish. And even from our breakdown of the Dixie, you know that this thing is looking to go down long term. So right now, the issue is if this zone is going to get tested again. So if the zone gets tested again and we stay below, then you know that this would be a good, it's about 50, 100 or 125 pips push, right? So this is my thesis, but I'm not sure. Don't buy this. But if this retest happens, then you look to sell again, just like we saw on gold. So today would have been a good sell on GU, but unfortunately, we were not here before the move happened. So that's just by the. So USD JPY. So remember when we talked about the JPY? The JPYs have come into very important levels here. And we are still looking at the JPY basket continuing to hit that level below. And if it fails to below, we'll be looking at long-term sales, right? So taking any sales on the JPYs now is risky until we see significant reversals on the JPY basket. You can't take any sales of the JPYs, right? And this is JPY is directly correlated to the to gold. So that's why we have massive push-ups here, because gold is having a massive push-up. So here, I even thought price was going to respect this major psychological level here, but the candle is not closed yet and we are still around the area. So this is still an important area I'll be keeping an eye on. So this psychological level is 1.40. So let me put a watermark here. That's 1.4000. 140, I mean 14000. Very significant level. So if price rejects and close below, then you know this is significant. You can get some sell off into some structural points here. So that is very significant to keep an eye on. If you get a rejection here, this will be an easy trade. And this is going, if this happens, this is going to be like when if the gold decide to push back, then this pullback is going to happen as gold is pushing to the upside. I believe you know what I mean. Right. And similar thing for JPY. So this is JPY basket. You remember, I think I posted a setup. I'm not sure if I posted it on the main page or in the mentorship. I'm not sure. I think I posted it somewhere. I don't know. Yes. So here, let me bring out this chart here. So I had a markup on the 4-hour time frame, I think. Yep. So on the 4-hour time frame, you see that there is you see the build-up of, there's a lot of squeeze here. And price is trading above volume here. So high volume. If breaks above here, then this might continue pushing. But if you're looking at the H1 here, what you see here is we've created this high and a high. So structurally, you need to see that level kicking out, even though we have like that's highs here. It's wicks on the 4-hour time frame. But it's still important to see a very strong breakout and retest to start looking here. And here again, JPY, okay, let me bring this back. Let me bring this back again. GBP JPY is testing another major psychological level, which is 172,500, right? So this is a key level. If price rejects here, I'm seeing a drop to this level here. But even long term, this is where I'm actually looking at here. A drop into this structural point here, right? So this is the previous structural point. So when price is moving, it moves from structure to structure. This was the previous structural point. This was the head and shoulders that facilitated the push to the upside. So right, this, it was an ugly one, but still a head and shoulders. So if price reverse here, push down here, then it will be a retest of structure and then a push to the upside. So keep an eye on the price action here. If we get a pull down here, this is a very good. If we go all the way down, this is about 200 pips on GBP JPY. And GBP JPY can do this in a day or two. Like it's very aggressive like that. If he wants to go, it just goes, right? So I'm keeping an eye here for some short-term sells here. And yeah, keep an eye on this one too. And we have 3 minutes. Euro JPY. So Euro JPY was also testing a very strong structural point here where we broke out. So with Euro JPY, if the JPY decide to pull back, this would just be a retest of the broken structure, if you get what I mean. If the JPY decide to pull back, Euro JPY will just pull back for a retest and continue pushing. So between GJ and UJ, if you're looking to buy any of them, it should be EJ, because EJ has already broken out of structure. And I think the next structural point would be around here, which is let me put a watermark on there. So the next structural point above here is 150,585. So it's either a retest here we push back, or price. If price decides to continue pushing, then this is where you're looking for the reversal from. So if price decides pushing, then you're looking to short for the retest and a continuation. But if price reverses to the downside, then you're looking to buy into that structural point here. So that is what I'm seeing on EJ. And then finally, USD CAD, right? So USD CAD has been bullish. Like, you know, the dollar is strong. So if dollar is strong, USD CAD is going to push to the upside. So you see, we have a good and neat structural build up here and a good pullback here. So this is a very significant structural point here. Again, like price move from structure to structure. So if the USD becomes strong, like we are saying, what are we looking out for? A retest of structure and a continuation to the upside. But this one is tricky because this structural point is just hanging like that. So if you want to start looking to buy, I'd rather trust this structural point instead, right? So if the USD decide to make a retracement, the only time you want to get back into buying USD CAD is a retest of this structural point here, which would be like a retest trade, right? So we still have 1 minute and a few seconds left. So I think we are good. I went through almost everything. I know it's not as detailed as what I did the other time, but hopefully you saw something that you want to keep an eye on and monitor and then see if you can catch something off that. Yeah. We have USD CAD testing a structural point. If you get a rejection here, you could find an H1 retracement for a TP1 here, TP2 here. Or you can wait for a pullback here and look to buy here next week, right? So I think that is it for, that is a decent amount of, I know it's not that detailed, but I hope you catch something and you can pursue it further and see what you can get from me. Yeah. So those of you, if you're on the call and you're on mentorship, keep an eye. We will do a more in-depth breakdown on some of this pair. Right. So yeah, the call is even ending now. So if you have any question, type in the chat box. If you send your chat and you tag me, I'll have a look at it. So yeah, if you have any question, you can just tag me in your chats and then we'll see where we can take it from there. Right. So peace out.